Barkevisser, the modern day mystic, as she helps you find your personal intuitive uniqueness and universal alignment for a more meaningful life. You're listening to The Modern Day Mystic with your host, Cynthia Barkevisser.
Well, hello everyone. This is Cynthia Barkevisser, your modern day mystic, and happy Monday to you. I'm talking about learning your intuitive language, or what's your type. And what I'd love to do is talk about different types of intuition, how we can walk with it very practically in our lives, and then I would love to talk with you if you'd like. So if you'd like to get a quick read or hop on in and give us some information about you, that'd be great. Just call 657-383-0608 and press 1 if you'd like to talk with me. Otherwise, come hang out with my very good friend, Tana Newberry, in the chat room and get to know us that way, and you're more than welcome to ask your question from there. So what I'd like to talk about is what's your type? Just so you know, we'll be doing another show with relationships, and we'll be talking about what's your type in a different way. What's your type is to talk about the different ways that we deal with our intuition, and there's so many ways. And just like our regular senses, we have a bunch of them, and there's one that we favor over the other. So I know that there are all of us that are clairaudient, which means that we actually hear things that are not physically in front of us, but it is there. There is clairvoyant, in which that we see things that are not physically in front of us. There is clairsentient, in which we feel. And then along with all those, we also have psychic, which is about getting direct information that is usually future-based or based on something where the information is not easily accessible in our immediate environment. And then we have our healers, we have our channelers, we have our clear channels, so many different things. So it's really easy to go, what the heck am I? What makes me so special? And trust me, you are special. There was a time, it was maybe not too long ago, maybe only a mere 20 years ago, when I was having issues with my intuition. I wasn't sure if I was intuitive. I wasn't sure but I loved intuition. I loved helping people, and so I didn't exactly know how to what is that called? How not to support myself, but how to get the affirmations that I was on the right path. I mean, come on, it was 20 years ago. I'd like to think that I learned a little bit in that time, and it probably is just a little bit when I think about the grand scheme of things. But my Swami Mommy said, if you're having trouble with this, why don't you check out handwriting analysis? And it was perfect timing. The day after she suggested that, she got me in touch with someone who said she was thinking about teaching handwriting analysis. And so a lovely relationship began, one with my Swami Mommy and my handwriting analysis instructor, as well as my relationship with my intuition. So handwriting analysis is an empirical science. It is used in Europe more than it is used in the United States, but it does extract, because what it is that it's your brain that's telling you how to move an instrument across a surface, right? So tagging, you could tell the signatures of taggings, of paintings, of holy cow, I am losing all my words. And of course, you totally know when you see handwriting of someone that you love without having to see their signature. You just know it's them, it's that thing. And I think it's funny when people could tell what their style is, because then they say that's their signature, which is absolutely, correct. So anyway, here I am. I'm doing handwriting analysis. I'm doing my studies and having a great time. And I find out from the handwriting specialist. She is Ann Mahoney, and she is a local in San Francisco, or at least she was a few years back, a handwriting expert. And she said the odds of someone writing exactly like you is 1 in 68 trillion. Okay? And I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy cool. And as I started doing the handwriting analysis, I realized that I was using the handwriting pretty much like one would use a tarot card, and started readings from the handwriting. And graphologists can glean all kinds of information from handwriting. So I don't want to knock down that profession, because it's an amazing skill to be a graphologist. But I could tell that I wasn't doing my homework. I was just letting my intuition go, and just by using some of the basics and out giving readings. What I've realized is that the way that each and every single one of us communicates is just as unique, if not more unique, than our handwriting. So the odds of someone communicating just like you is 1 in 68 trillion. The way that you can use or utilize your intuition is limitless. The way that you access and process your intuitive information, 1 in 68 trillion. This is why a lot of people, they look at each other and they say, I'm speaking English, I know you're speaking English, and yet we just can't seem to communicate. It's because the way we're processing intuitively is so different that we can't turn around and speak your dialect so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. And then if you can't understand, then how the heck are you supposed to give me feedback, right? So so that's what I'd like to talk about, is just to find out, help you find out what your type is. I would love to have other people call in. Just dial 657-383-0608 and press 1 if you'd like to talk with me. So anyway, so there are different types, right? There's clairaudient, there's clairvoyant, there's clairsentient, and then, of course, there are the healers, mediums, and channels. So what I'd like to talk about is that clairaudient means that you can hear things that are outside the physical realm, and yet you're hearing things plain as day. I have a friend, her name is Jennifer, and she's amazingly clairaudient. So while she's talking to you, she has a great BS meter, and it's not because she's feeling you or listening to you. She's actually listening to her information as you're talking, and she can call you on your stuff. So fun to talk with her, and fun to watch her face as she keeps the information inside while you try and BS her by giving her some kind of story. And she's single, by the way, so it's really funny to think about how people try and get to know her and date her, because she's got that special thing that goes on with that. I also have a friend who's clairvoyant, and clairvoyant is that you can see beyond, right, the things that are physically in front of you. And he uses it along with his imagination, and from there he can pick up all kinds of information. So much fun. And then there's clairsentient. And clairsentient is really common among women, in which you feel things. So I love talking to people with boundary issues, because I automatically know that they're clairsentient. And how is that? They're walking along today, they're having a really good day. They bump up against a different energy, and that energy has some kind of resistance, because they're not aware just how sensitive they are. They pick up that energy, and all of a sudden their day is not so special and not so exact, and then things get a little bit fuzzy and unclear, and that's clairsentient. My friend Carol is an amazing clairsentient, and that she uses that to her advantage when speaking with people and helping them out with their problems. So there's that. And then so we have this realm of things, and within that people specialize, right? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask Tana if she knows, Tana Ms. Extraordinaire, if she can give me an example of people who specialize in some of the things that they do. And I know Tana is an amazing reader as well. She was so much fun. She gives really fun readings, not only, but she does it in such a fun way. So I had her give me a reading in which we got to pick out a bunch of different crystals, and from picked and the locations I put it in, she gave me a great reading. So, hey, Ms. Tana, are you there? I'd love to talk to you about how you read and how you classify yourself.
Yeah, so I thanks for letting me on the show. Here I am in the background just eating some rice.
I'm so sorry.
And, no problem. And I have found in my time to also have like a clairaudient thing where I don't know if I have a gift of really calling the BS like your friend. That was really funny when you said that. But, I do hear like words and strings of words that I have to kind of partner up with something else, like an intuitive feeling or like a clairvoyant, vision, sort of on that back space of my brain to really understand the full message. But I definitely have the clairaudience where I hear words or strings of words, and sometimes the voices take on certain characteristics, like a woman's voice versus a man voice, or, things like that I can kind of use to determine what the message is for me or for someone else when I'm reading. But yeah, the thing with the crystals is cool too, and that's definitely sort of a visual thing as well as a mental thing, because I kind of would take like the meanings of the crystals, and sometimes they're not always the metaphysical meanings. You know what I mean? It's like, right. Where did I obtain this crystal? How does this crystal make me feel? You know what I mean? Or what are my impressions of this crystal? And then, I would partner my clairaudient words and strings of sentences with, how the crystal would make me think or feel. And through that, I usually but get something pretty clear. And it's also fun to do timelines with crystals too, because it tends to come out more than when I use cards, just from my experience. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I like to, when I see you, or when we hang, the first thing I think of is that you're very visual first, and that everything else is in the background. And I tell everybody every week that you're brilliant, and I really do think you're brilliant, by the way. So you have all this information and all this knowledge, and then along with that, you're clairvoyant and clairsentient, and then have some clairaudience, and then you have great imagination. So it always makes for a fun reading. But if you were to call yourself like one thing first, what is it that you would call yourself first?
Well, it's funny. I would almost say clairaudient, just because when you're clairaudient, then you are. And if you aren't, you really aren't. There's a big difference between can you hear or can't.
Right.
Like, it's just less common, I think, for people, because I teach a lot of classes about like the psychic categories as well. And I find that clairaudience most of the time is the one that people really don't have, because everybody kind of sees visions in their mind. Everybody gets gut feelings for the most part, but clairaudience is kind of like one of those things where if it freaks you out, Spirit's not going to really give it to you.
Exactly. Either that, or like, I didn't hear that. That must be the wind, or or what was that?
Like it's pushed back like it's pushed back so far in our regular processing that sometimes if it's not really given its validation, therefore not developed. And, it's if you got it, you got it. And if not, you probably don't. You know what I mean? So if I like to think of something that I definitely have, it's definitely clairaudience. But, I never use it alone. It's always one of those things where you got to partner it with everything else to get the full picture. There's nothing that's really one piece of the puzzle,
Right, but I like thinking of that as like a really good dinner, because it's got to look good, it looks beautiful, and you're a little bit hungry, and it smells great, and then it helps it that it tastes great. So I think of doing readings the exact same way, right? So
yeah, exactly.
you gotta put it all in, and I love food anyway, so of course I got to bring in that kind of that kind of what? I have no words today. I'm so glad you're online with me, Tana, because I just can't figure out the words. My name is Cynthia Varkavas.
It's really good that you're psychic and that a lot of people listening are also psychic, so I think it's okay.
You're goodness. So the point I was getting to is that here you are, you're clairaudient, and you do teach classes, but you also use this in a very practical way. I love the way that you work with me on the show, because you do use all your intuitive skills and you're my producer. So, what I was wondering is, can you think of anybody in your life that you know is extremely psychic or extremely, intuitive in one way, shape, or form, and they have a very practical job?
A very practical job. I have this friend named Megan who, when she's working completely 100% practical jobs, like she's never super happy, but she's got like a master's degree from Georgetown, and she graduated, what do you call it, Madam Cum Laude or whatever, from yeah, from her college, and she studied the same thing that I studied in college, which is like communications, and not specifically for her was broadcast or film, but I did broadcast and film. But she specifically communications, so she like works on big companies and networks and does all this stuff. But I think it's so hard to take the psychic out of the psychic person,
Right.
And even if you are like me, like I'm a Virgo and I really like systems and technology, and whatever I'm doing creative or psychically, I always like to have like my hand in the technical aspects. And she's kind of the same way, but like again, it's hard to take the psychic out of the psychic. And if you do try to do that, I feel like you just aren't feeling like that's the authentic place for you. It's like you got to have an outlet for both, or else you feel kind of suffocated.
Right. No, I totally get it. I actually was thinking about some of the people in my life as well. I think you know her. She's a friend, and she comes down to the store, and her name is Celeste, and she's brilliant, and she's incredibly intuitive, and she also happens to be a doctor, and yeah, a cardiologist, I believe, and it was amazing how she would use her intuition with her patients. And what would happen is that because she actually listened to her intuition, and she still worked within, the parameters of medicine, but because of the type of care that she gave, she was an extremely popular doctor. And I think she is going from doctor to, she'll always be a doctor, but she's also a speaker now. And I think about that. And I also think about the web designers that are in our lives. And you're a web designer as well, right? You do some web design.
I am.
And that you talk to someone, and then you get to the heart of the matter using your intuition, and then you pop it up and you match. I love the flyers that you do and everything. Your banner, the banner that you did for me was amazing because it's got all the tribal stuff that I love. I'm, that unga bunga type of girl, get really tribal. But it's not like I told you that. It's just, it's something that you did. So I was thinking about that and how people just use and how they enrich everyone else's life by being practical. Not everybody needs to be a healer and sit with healing and saying and doing it the traditional sense. There's so many different ways to heal that I love seeing people I like to call it practical or corporate, and see them use that and really enrich other people's lives that way.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Where's that taking me? I'm having such a good time with you. Well, as I'm having such a good time with you, I'm like, hey, what else? What else can we talk about?
Yeah, so, and I think one of the things I'm taking away, Cynthia, is like you're just telling people. You're saying like, whether you call yourself like a psychic or a reader or an intuitive, it's like everybody has that piece, and to delve into like, oh, like what is your strong suit or whatever, and like what are the many different ways you can use that. Like you don't always have to be a psychic reader. Like, you could be in the corporate world, you can be in technology, you can be in caregiving or being a doctor or whatever, and you still have a place to use your intuition. You know what I mean? Like that stuff is always useful with whatever you do. That's why I love, because I am really technical and I do a lot of web stuff and online stuff. And that's why I became a business and broadcast coach for people in the intuitive realm, because I really wanted to marry those two things. And no matter what you do, you can always find that balance between feeling like you're using your intuitive gifts or impressions and still working whatever else your passion is too. And I think that's the big takeaways from what you're saying is, you're never separate from any part of you.
Right. You're absolutely right. And there is what, I'll just add on to that. There's this one person, I absolutely love her, and she helps, she's very intuitive, and she helps people with online dating. And it cracks me up because I think about all the people that you could be helping. And the only reason I say could be is because there are so many people out there who just want to do it on their own. And if they could just find her, there'd be so many more matches and so many people who'd be happier that way. And I love that you and I found people. We're using our intuitive work. So
Totally.
right. So, so what I'd love to do is I'd like to talk a little bit more about people who specialize, and that we are all gifted. There are, we are 1 in 68 trillion. I don't know how many people there are on this earth, but can you imagine finding that person who's exactly like you in the 1 in 68 trillion? And you have to remember this: at 1 in 68 trillion, think about who you were last year. You're not the same person today as you were last year. So you could not, if you were to go back in time, you wouldn't be able to communicate wholly with that person, with you from a year ago. So, I mean, so exciting to see how unique we are and how we can do this practically. This meaning how we can work within our world practically as well as uniquely, and be super joyful with who we are. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and have us take a break. It was a lot of good stuff. I love having a chat with Tana whenever I can. She's amazing. And so please know that I am taking readings along the way. All you have to do is dial in 657-383-0608 and press 1 if you want to talk with me. All right? I'll catch you on the other side. Bye.
Are you ready to transform your life? Are you looking for love? Are you looking to advance your career, increase prosperity, or improve your health? Feng Shui can help. Feng Shui is the ancient Chinese art of enhancing your environment by creating a more positive energy flow to help you achieve your goals. Maria McCullough is the founder of Feng Shui by Maria and author of the popular newspaper column Everyday Feng Shui, currently in 3 publications. Trained by the Western School of Feng Shui, Maria has over 15 years of experience transforming the lives of people like you in the San Francisco Bay Area. For more information, to learn about upcoming classes, and to read testimonials, log on to her website at www.fengshuibymaria.com or call 925-586-1430 to schedule your personalized 2-hour introductory home or business consultation. You too can be a satisfied customer saying, "A Feng Shui visit from Maria helped me get the job I always wanted," or, "After a consultation from Maria, I found the love of my life." Be the change you want in your life. To set up your appointment, call 925-586-1430 today. Discover the beauty within at Julie Michelle Skin and Lashes, located in beautiful downtown Benicia, California. With 13 years of experience, licensed esthetician Julie Michelle brightens your natural beauty with therapeutic clinical skincare treatments and home care products, head-to-toe waxing, including Brazilian, and gorgeous eyelash extensions, all during your enjoyment of her restorative and tranquil environment. New client specials include VitaBright microdermabrasions for only $89, regularly $150, and full set eyelash extensions for only $99, regularly $175. Come join Julie's long list of clients who savor the sense of wellness, lightness, and delight in feeling their best. Visit 847 First Street, facing I Street, conveniently located within distance of delightful boutiques, shops, and restaurants. Learn more and book appointments at www.juliemichelleskinandlashes.com.
I'm Cynthia Varkevisser, your modern day mystic, and we're talking about what's your type? What is your type? So, in a little bit on Friday, we'll be talking about um, what's your type as in relationships. But right now, today, we're talking about what's your type as in how do you best communicate? How do you best relate to other people? Do you do it visually? Do you do it by listening to your gut or your feelings? Or are you one of those people that can hear between, hear in the spaces between the noise? It's really amazing how we all communicate. And not only do we have these special gifts, but the way that we interpret them and use them is so unique. Like I said before, it's 1 in 68 trillion. But that doesn't mean that you have to use it specifically for healing purposes or in the healing arts. So what I'm saying is, you can be extremely intuitive, but that doesn't mean that you have to go out and get your cards and say that I'm a reader and that you heal people in that way. There are so many people that heal in so many different ways that are very practical. There is one person that I'm thinking of that is at a Trader Joe's, believe it or not, and they are a cashier. And they make me feel so good, and not anything personal. It's just that their energy is so good that that's the line that I look for. And, this person is really good with the chit-chat and being pleasant, but really, more than anything else, it's just the vibe that they put out. And if I can get just a little bit of good vibe wherever I go, why not take it, right? So think about this. And actually, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. It's a little bit of a non sequitur, but here we go. And before I do that, let me go ahead and let you in on a little secret. You can call me, and I'm happy to do a reading for you. All you have to do is dial in. It's 657-383-0608, and then press the magic number 1, and you'll be talking with me. And we can go ahead and get into where you are and how I can help. Otherwise, come on into the chat room and get to know us a little bit better that way, and you can ask your question there. But anyway, have you ever gone to? I mean, it's so amazing. But yesterday morning, I wanted to Facebook this, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't. I walked into my neighborhood YMCA because that's where my gym membership is, and it's amazing, downtown Berkeley. And I walk in, and there are just enough treadmills to not be able to be by yourself. And so, of course, what you're doing is not you. So, of course, what I'm doing is I'm looking to see where's the best fit. First thing I think I want is the TV, which, of course, I don't because I never turned that bad boy on. I always end up listening to my podcast. Oh, my gosh, I don't listen to my podcast, but I listen to a podcast. So you're trying to figure out, or I'm figuring out where is it that I want to go. Here's what happened. I'm checking everything out, and I end up being all judgy and going next to this older woman. And I don't know why I picked this place, but I know that I'm drawn to this treadmill. And as I get going, of course, because I am this person, I am a little bit competitive, and she is older than me, obviously. I take a look, and I see that as I'm warming up, that she's been running for quite a while. And trust me, this woman does not look like she's been a runner her whole life. She does not have that real lithe runner's body. She looks like just someone who usually just walks and takes these great walks. She's healthy, but she's definitely not got that marathon runner's body. And as I do my warm up and untangle my ear buds and figure out what I'm going to be listening to, she's still running. And as I start boosting up my my pace and debating whether or not I want to do an incline or if I'm going to be a baby and, look outside because I did get a window view. She's still running. And so here's what I found. I found that I stood next to her because of her energy. And her energy was so amazing because she was so intent on just her. And she had this great bubble of health that, of course, I wanted to stand next to her. And what she did was that she inspired me to change my bad behavior and get into myself and go, you know what, I'm here. We're all about health and we're doing some good things. And then I also got inspired to run. Usually I'm a walker. And then I started running and I boosted up the run time versus walk time. So it's really amazing. So, I have no idea what her profession was, but I can tell you she inspired me. I can tell you that she was intuitive and that she was working with her intuitive energy as she was working out. I also wanted to talk about, so, there are all these people that inspire you in a certain way. I also know of this person. Her name is Bethany, and she's, I think she's still local, but she does feng shui. And she's got the practical side in that she's an organizer. And I love feng shui, but I love being practical. So I actually had her come on in, and it was lovely to see that without having to say anything, that she used her intuition to see how I should lay out my office and organize certain things so that I had the most important things right here in front of me. And she helped me declutter so that I could open up space, not just space physically, but space within my head and in my emotions to experience something else. And it was a great shift. I loved all these things. So what I'd like to do is talk about these things just a little bit more. Feel free to call in if you'd like. It's 657-383-0608. And press 1 if you want to have a chat. Otherwise, come on in and hang out in the chat room. So we talked about the different types. There's clairaudient, there's clairvoyant, there's clairsentient. Then there are people who, there are mediums, and then there are channels. And there's so much more than that. But these are the quick and dirty categories that I wanted to talk about just for right now. And then within that, you have your specifics. Just like I was talking about with Tana, she identifies clairaudient. However, she's also a visual person, and she likes systems and practical things, and that's why it was really fun for her to do crystal readings in a certain way, in a way that I'd never seen before. And like I said, because it lines up with her so well, she does really well with timelines. I mean, what a great way to get a reading, right? But there are also other people who do tarot, and they happen to be specific in health. There was a person, his name was, Weldon Walsh. He was a long-standing astrologer. Bless him, because he had passed a few years ago. And this man was funny. He would never give you a full hour's worth of reading because he was so funny that he was joking around and stuff, which doesn't matter because it's about feeling better. But the reason I'm smiling is that he was really an expert on death, and super scary, right, for most people. But I went to him a few times, and each time he told me, who was on the horizon to shift up and transition and pass. And it was amazing because I made sure to consciously spend time with those people so that I could say goodbye in a proper way. And so in that way, Mr. Welsh was an incredible gift to me. And he's a good astrologer and fantastic at predicting death. I mean, amazing. So these are certain things that we're talking about specializing, right, or specialties. There's another friend who is also an astrologer, who his name is Gerald, and he's a little bit quirky. So guess what? He finds the smallest thread within your chart, and he talks about your quirk. And he talks about your quirk because his quirk is so interesting to him that your quirk is interesting to him as well. And he likes to bring that piece out because that is the most unique piece in you, right? It's the quirk that works. And he will talk about it, and then he talks about how you can use it, bring it forth and use it brilliantly, practically or impractically, so that you can be happier, more vibrant, more unique without feeling weird. I mean, what a great thing is that, right? So those are your specialties within. And then there's one person who I love. Her name is Danya, and she's a clairvoyant. She does tarot. But here's the thing that's really interesting with her is that if you know about the chakra system, you know that you got base chakra, root chakra stuff. That's the oldest, biggest stuff, and usually the hardest to identify because we talk about the little things that lead up to the big thing. And her gift is that she can tap into your root chakra issue. So, I mean, if there's no such thing as a light reading when you go into root chakra stuff, but it's a really cool specialty in which we do that. And then, of course, we have, again, the practical people. So, and when I say the practical people, they're brilliant and intuitive and very caring, and they find themselves in the medical field. My very special person, Dee Hampton, is super intuitive and can read people like nobody's business, and she finds that she's in the mental health field. And how lucky is the mental health field to have someone like her to separate out who really needs help to who really needs attention. Now, here's the difference. When someone needs attention, it's just that they need to be acknowledged. And when someone needs help, they need attention as well as a direction in which that they can get the services to provide them with the things that they need to alleviate the pain in their life. So what an amazing thing that there's someone in the mental health field that can move things along in such a way that that she's healing. She's healing within a very, very big system. And then, of course, I love the people who work systems. You have Ms. Virgo Tana, who loves systems, which is why she's brilliant in what she does with business. She can root out all the fluff because she's a Virgo and plop it down systematically and very logically, and then she expands it. She blows it up. So that you can go, oh yeah, I am that, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So that's all really, really cool. So I'm wondering if you're thinking, well, shoot, who am I and how do I do this? Come call me. I'm happy to help work this out. There are so many classes for people to explore in order to find out how you best communicate, and then you can find your people. And then, the next question is usually, well, how do I find my people? A lot of people who come in for readings with me, they feel like they're out. What I mean by out is that they don't feel like they're in with the cool crowd, that there's something that makes them so different that they're just a beat off or just a little bit different, and they don't feel like they belong. So, and they tend to be incredibly amazing people. And so, here are some things that you can do to help you find your people or expand yourself or your circle. So, number one is sit down and be real with yourself, right? And what that means is just have some quiet time. You can put on the music, not put on music, light some candles. I am a fan of candles. I will always burn candles. And sit and journal and allow yourself to come on out through the pages. There's something about the physical writing that connects the brain with the emotion, with the spirituality, and brings it all into one place, which is pretty incredible. So sit down and have a nice little journal with yourself, and you can make it as short or as long as you'd like. I recommend 15 minutes, but if you happen to have an hour and you really want to spill your guts to yourself, do it. It's an amazing thing. Feel free to call in if you'd like to join in this conversation at 657-383-0608 and press 1 if you'd like to speak with me. So that's the first thing. And what that does is that it helps point you in the right in a direction. There's no such thing as a right direction or a wrong direction. What's really important is that there's a direction. It gets you moving, right? And then what you do is you go out. you go out. It's one of the things I love telling people when they say that they're stuck and they look at me like I'm crazy. And it is. It's about going out. The act of going out and doing something helps the energy move, and the movement of energy helps you vibe out. It grows your energetic circle. It also helps you remember who you are. And last but not least, it's in the act of exploring that you get into the innocent place of the child that gets rid of judgment, and you just get to accept, which is amazing, right? So you go out, you play, you do things with friends, do things that you wouldn't normally do. It's okay to go to a bar, and you don't have to drink. It's just doing something different, all right? So go out and do something. And then with that experience of going out, doing something different, it could be something as simple as walking around the block and walking twice as slow as your normal pace, and allowing that experience to happen, or jog like I did in that little story. Then once you finish having that experience, come back in and let go of something. And that letting go can be an emotion, it can be a thought, it can be an opinion, or it can be something really physical. It could be that, for me it was this really lovely but crazy, ratty old rain jacket that I don't regret, but it's still in my mind. So I have gotten rid of my jacket physically, and now I need to get it out of my mind. Let go of something. Once you let go of something, then you get to bring something in. So you could do it one way or the other. You can bring something in and then realize you need to get rid of something, or you can bring something in after you let go of something. I like mementos, so I like having a card out from someone that loves me, so that I have that energy, or anything like that. And then the last thing is to say it loud and proud. The universe conspires to assist those who are out to find themselves. So say it loud and proud. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You'll find that the people in front of you want to help you. The people around you want to help you. And then the universe wants to help you. So those are the 5 things that I recommend for you to find your people and expand your circle. Sit and journal. Go out and do something different. 3, let go of something. 4, bring something in. And then 5, say it loud and proud. We do all these things in my Thursday classes here in Berkeley. They're every Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m. We are finishing up our decluttering and intuitive feng shui, and then we're going to be moving into our guides, guardian angels, alliances, ancestors, all the other things, so that we don't feel alone. It's fun to know that once you clear stuff out, that you really do have a lot of stuff in. I'm also happy to help you with one-on-one to help you decide where you are. I had a person who came in who was having a really hard time and finally discovered that they were transgender. And what we did is we just talked about the 5 things. So what he did was he went out, he started socializing, he started realizing that he wasn't alone. He got rid of things. He got rid of his old way of thinking. And then he brought things in, which is he went to a new school in order to support his new identity. And then he started telling everybody, and that is the way to heal. It was really amazing. I hope that you find some items of value in this show. Feel free to come find me on Facebook through Cynthia Varkevisser, Modern Day Mystic. I have a website also, which is modernday-mystic.com, and you can find me in some places around the Bay Area. I am in Benicia at Angel Heart for You, as well as Angel Light Books in Berkeley. And come and book some time, and we can talk about things. This was a really amazing show. I want to thank Tana so much for spending time with me and talking about the different types of intuition and how it all blends together like a beautiful meal. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I'm so grateful that you're here. Please know that I will be having another show on Monday. And that on the next show that I will be doing is about relationship. What is your type? So much fun. Please feel free to visit Angel Heart for You radio channel often, as we have a lot of amazing people that are here to be of service to you. Take really good care of yourself. Good health to you. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I hope you have a great, great weekend. Bye.